Packers Sanitation, a US company, employed over 100 kids in 2023. One of the 2 remaining northern white rhinos in the world guarded 24 hours a day to guard against poachers. Photo, Mad Jazz Krivik. Source, National Geographic. A skull from the Civil War. Fatal wound inflicted by exploding 12-pound artillery shell. What we would pay our teachers if we paid them what we paid babysitters. Okay, fine. We'll take the babysitter rate. $10 per kid times 6.5 hours per day equals $65. Times 28 kids per class equals $1,820. Times 180 school days equals $327,600. Sounds great. On November 12, 1833, there was a meteor shower so intense that it was possible to see up to 100,000 meteors crossing the sky every hour. At the time, many thought it was the end of the world, so much so that it inspired this woodcut by Adolphe Volmy. One of the only 2 known authentic pirate flags in the world. In the year 2018, the Parkland school shooting incident happened. A 15-year-old named Anthony Borges successfully stopped the shooter from entering his classroom by using his body to keep the door shut. He got shot 5 times, saved 20 classmates inside the room, and went on to make a full recovery. B-2 bomber crash visible on Google Maps. After being told by doctors her condition was worsening, Heather Mosher and David Mosher opted to get married in the hospital. She would pass 18 hours later. Kindergarten teacher Helen Hulick, who was a witness to a burglary, was given a 5-day sentence and sent to jail because she wore pants to her courtroom testimony in Los Angeles, 1938. My newborn is outfitted with an ankle bracelet that locks the doors and elevators in the event someone tries to take him off of our floor. On vacation in Mexico, and they have stickers over all the characters on American cereal boxes. Artist Andy Goldsworthy rearranges dying leaves by colors around base of tree to create this amazing illusion. Gerrymandering. How to steal an selection. 50 precincts, 60% blue, 40% red. 5 districts, 5 blue, 0 red. Blue wins. 5 districts, 3 red, 2 blue. Red wins. A female falcon was equipped with a satellite tracking system in South Africa before migrating to Finland. Image shows tracker data. In just 42 days, she flew over 10,000 kilometers at an incredible average of 230 kilometers per day and nearly in a straight line. Polish war prisoners on their way to prison camp in 1939. After a few months, they were taken to Forest of Katyn, 400 kilometers from Moscow, where they were CQ'd by shots to back of their head. A total of 20,000 Polish war prisoners were CQ'd by Soviet soldiers in that forest. The Ukrainian edition of Elle magazine has decided to honor the women fighting for Ukraine on its next cover. Insane snow depth on the Tateyama-Kurobe Highway in Japan. Graffiti I walked by on a train station in Milan, Italy. One of the world's deepest diamond mines, located in Russia. Top hat worn by Abraham Lincoln the night he was shot. The Katy Freeway, the widest highway in the world, 26 lanes, Houston, Texas, USA. Mount Fuji in the morning light during winter. A man waves to copies of Windows 95 at a midnight launch at a store in Sydney, Australia, 1995. The unfinished obelisk in Aswan, Egypt is a megalith made from a single piece of red granite. It measures at 137 feet, 42 meters, and weighs over 1,200 tons, or 2.6 million pounds. It's a logistical nightmare and still baffles people to this day. Tasmanian devils give birth to 2 dozen Joeys despite only having 4 Nepals. The first 4 Joeys to find the Nepals get to live. The rest get eaten by their mother, so they don't starve to death. Using 2 cameras and around 50,000 individual photos, I created this 81 megapixel composite of our moon with the color enhanced, so you can see how impacts altered the composition of the regolith. Make sure you zoom in. Garnet sand grain set on the eye of a deceased fly. This cross-stitch artwork took her 4 years. Stephen Werin dances in front of the coffin of his partner, Ernest Lassalle, as he pays tribute to her in front of a church in Biarritz, France, on March 3rd. Lassalle, a 53-year-old teacher, was stabbed to death during a class last month. After Werin started dancing, others began to join him. Coca-Cola bottle makes major change to aluminum can packaging to help save the ocean from plastic rings. Bear Valley, California. Bear Valley in California, 53 feet of snow. This frozen toilet. NASA's new spacesuit designed for the new Artemis 3 mission to the moon. 1700 miles from anyone else, Tristan da Cunha is the world's most isolated island with a population 237 residents as of latest. As part of the project, as if nothing happened, an AI drew Michael Jackson, if he were still here, and has lived a different life. The United States was a heartbeat away from having its first person of color president 80 years before President Obama, when Charles Curtis, who was Native American, was elected vice president in 1928. While overlooked by history, he was the highest ranking US official of color until 2009. Sign me up. Never been on a roller coaster. The euthanasia coaster is a concept for a steel roller coaster designed to kill its passengers. In 2010, it was designed and made into a scale model by Geligenis Urbanus, a PhD candidate at the Royal College of Art in London. Urbanus, who has worked at an amusement park, stated that the goal of his concept roller coaster is to take lives with elegance and euphoria. It is a ride to the Delt. The 7 loops or inversions put the human under such stress that it causes the brain to be starved of oxygen, as the heart simply cannot push blood against the enormous G-forces. Even if it kills you, it is designed to still be a fun Delt. An honorable thought, if rather macabre. The only German U-boat known to be in existence. Museum of Science and Industry, Chicago. The Rolling Stones in Manhattan, New York, 1966. I received this counterfeit cashier's check as a commission for being a muse in an apparent art scam. The Welcome Stranger gold nugget was discovered by miner John Deason and his partner near Milyagal, Victoria, Australia. It's believed that after being smelted, the nugget yielded about 156 pounds of pure gold. The nugget was found around the roots of a tree, just an inch below the surface. A picture of the Empire State Building taken in New Jersey in the 1930s. View of Hong Kong from the 60s in 2016. John Lennon went to Greece. There an astrologer told him that he would be shot dead on an island. 11 years later, avoiding going to England because it is an island, he found out in the worst way that Manhattan is also an island. The glacier of Ostfonna in Barents Sea has reached a critical melting point and has massive cracks in it. Poland has this solar-powered bike path that glows a ghostly blue. This shot of a sea lion gliding through a tunnel of schooling bulk striped Salima fish, Galapagos Islands. I've had this little guy for almost 2 years. When I came home today, I found it had sprouted 2 eyes. Hair ice or bearded frost is caused by a fungus living within the wood of decaying elder trees, and this fungus breathes or releases its spores through the night, pushing the moisture harnessed within the wood out of the wood's pores, causing it to immediately freeze. These are photos of the Big Wind, a firefighting vehicle which was used to extinguish oil fires during the Gulf War. The vehicle had two MiG-15 engines mounted on a T-34 chassis and could spray water at nearly the speed of sound. This tiny lizard perfectly shedding looks like he's wearing a tiny lizard spacesuit. Barbershop style guide, late 70s. Bear paw armor used in Persian and Indian Islamic civilization. In 1995, a man stole an M60A3 tank and went on a rampage on the streets of San Diego. 100k mile tall tornado on sun. Earth's diameter is 8k miles. Here's the other authentic pirate flag. It resides in the Mexican History Museum in Monterrey, Mexico. A prototype of the Iron Maiden was first invented by an Abbasid vizier named Ibn al-Zayd for use of culture, but it was ironically used for his own imprisonment and section in 847 by Caliph al-Wathiq. Aerial view of over 400,000 people at the Woodstock, 1969. The buff-tip moth. The resting posture, shape, and color/pattern of the buff-tip moth allows it to mimic a broken birch twig. The moth's buff-colored head and the patches on its hind wings even resemble freshly snapped wood. The Germans and British soldiers paused the war for a day on Christmas Day 1914. They sang, drank and celebrated together. They even had a match of football. A Corinthian helmet and skull from the Battle of Marathon in 490 BC. When found, the skull was still inside the helmet. The picture my dad took of Hong Kong in 1983 versus mine in 2023. During the war in Afghanistan, a Gurkha warrior known as Sergeant Deprasad Pun held his post against a crowd of Taliban fighters. Reportedly he spent over 400 rounds of ammunition, used 17 grenades and a claymore mine, before engaging the last fighter with the tripod of his machine gun. Signs in the outback trying to save unprepared travelers from the splendid, but unforgiving, desolation of Australia's central and western deserts. There are places in the outback where the closest phone reception, let alone other humans, is hundreds of kilometers away on rough dirt tracks. Warning. No food, water, or fuel available beyond this point before you proceed. 1. Have you checked road conditions? 2. Is vehicle suitably equipped? 3. Do you have sufficient food, water, and fuel? 4. Do you know the area you are entering? 5. Have you notified Nullagene police of your intended movements? If in doubt, do not proceed beyond this point. Instead, seek advice from the police at Nullagene. Do not be numbered amongst those who have perished in this area due to the lack of preparedness. This gate is a masterpiece of optical illusion. Vienna's leisure arena. Twice a year the sun aligns with this mountain in Norway to allow the sun to shine light through a hole in the mountain. Lady had a unwanted pet in her nose. In 2014, a woman from Edinburgh, Scotland had been having consistent nosebleeds for several weeks. Initially, she thought that she had burst a blood vessel in her nose after an earlier motorbike crash, but one day, while having a shower, she learned the truth. As she was showering, she decided to look in the mirror and noticed that there was something wriggling in her nose. She went to the hospital where doctors found and removed a 3-inch long leech that had been living in her nose for several weeks. Bioluminescent ghost fungi in Australia. Saturn's moon Hyperion resembles a sponge. This rare image of a rose naturally magnified through a drop of early morning dew. Belgium. Headwinds causing increased fuel consumption in the Australian outback can make the difference between making it to the next fuel or not for poorly prepared travelers. Distances of 500 km plus without fuel are common and go as high as 800 km. On Desert 4WD tracks this can increase to almost 2000 km. Warning: headwinds increase fuel consumption. There is a river in the Netherlands that looks exactly like a road. In the early 1970s, Ford Motor Company was producing the Maverick, a compact car marketed as an affordable and efficient vehicle. However, the demand for the Maverick was not as high as Ford had anticipated, and they found themselves with a surplus of unsold cars. Sweet clear fish. A calf born with smiley face markings. Bellbrook Holsteins, West Gippsland. This is how BC flowers. My EKG when I was defibrillated during a routine cardioversion to fix my heart rhythm. Space Shuttle Endeavour glides past Earth's atmosphere as seen in this astronaut's picture taken while aboard the International Space Station. JWST has recently taken a picture of WR-124 explosion aftermath. This is Aquatech. First photo ever taken underwater, 1899. This 100-plus-year-old salesman sampled versions of coffin/caskets with different wood types. Some starfish species have vibrant patterns, such as this one, Kenya. Soldier of the US 4th Infantry Division bidding farewell to his wife and baby at Penn Station, New York, 1944. All of them are still walking around freely. In other news, Ghislaine Maxwell becomes the first person ever to be convicted of trafficking children to nobody. The shortest international bridge in the world, located on the Portuguese-Spanish border. Some leftover cash after the trip to Zimbabwe. Smoky quartz crystal from Ashupi Valley District, Shigaskadu, Gilgit Baltistan. Photo by Karakoram Clarity. The New York Yankees insignia is adopted. Monument Park, Yankee Stadium, Bronx, New York. This insignia was originally struck on a Medal of Honor in 1877 by Tiffany & Company. It was issued to the first New York City police officer shot in the line of duty. The New York Yankees adopted this logo, and it became part of the uniform in 1909. In the year 1054, a supernova exploded and remained visible on Earth for 2 years, which is now known as the Crab Nebula. Aladiuayuni is the world's largest salt flat, located in southwest Bolivia. It's incredibly flat. As a result, it becomes one of the largest mirrors on the planet when covered in water. Snow on Mauna Kea and lava on Mauna Loa in Hawaii's most recent eruption, November 2022. The incredibly detailed death mask of Greek independence war hero Yanis Makrianos, who died at the age of 67 in 1864. A tree that perfectly absorbs this fence. Griffins on Scythian silver amphora, 4th circa BC. The Navuajatuk Greenstone Belt in northern Quebec, Canada has some of the world's oldest rocks dating back to 4.3 billion years old. Terra was an 18th century French showman who could eat enough to feed 15 people and swallow cats whole, but his stomach was never satisfied. He was an insatiable glutton who ate everything from human flesh to live eels. Renaissance Deadpool as Fresh Prince, modern art. I see you have made 3 spelling mistakes. Last words of the Marquis de Favras, after reading his death sentence before being hanged, 1790. British coins make a shield when put together. This image of a US map appeared on the cover of the February 10th, 1916 cover of Life magazine, a year before the US declaration of war. Artificial intelligence turns brain signals directly into pictures. The images in the bottom row were recreated from the brain scans of someone looking at the images in the top row. The facade of the Overlook Hotel set for The Shining under construction on the backlit at Amy Elstree Studios. Soldiers look at a 45 meter, 147 feet deep crater left by the detonation of 21 tons of explosives underneath German positions in West Flanders during World War I. One of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. The blast killed 10,000 soldiers and was heard as far away as Dublin. The Beast of Gévaudan terrorized the French countryside during the 1760s as it brutally attacked and killed anyone it could. Its true identity has been a topic of debate to this day, some saying it was a misguided wolf, while others claim it was an escaped exotic animal like a hyena or panther. In 1990, a panel of the windscreen on British Airways Flight 5390 fell out at 17,000 feet, causing the cockpit to decompress and its captain to be snapped halfway out of the aircraft. A nice quiet vacation. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Annie Lloyd filming The Shining in 1980. A 4,500-year-old dress was unearthed in Giza, and this is what it looks like after reconstruction. While the original strings disintegrated, the beads were left in place.